This right here is the Honor 70, and this one is the direct successor of the Honor 50 from last year. Now, the Honor 70 has some amazing cameras on board. You get a very good gaming experience, and I gotta be honest, this one looks very good. Alright guys, my name is Leonard, and today we will take a small tour through the Honor 70 and we will take a look at those cameras. Alright guys, now this phone is available in 3 different colors. Now you can either take the emerald green one, crystal silver, or midnight black, and you have basically 2 different options. Now you can either take the 128 gigs version or the 256 gigs, but keep in mind that the internal storage is not expandable. Now the Honor 70 must be one of the prettiest smartphones out there. You get a nicely curved back and front, the backside has a glossy touch to it, and the 2 main cameras are separated and they do stick out of the case by quite a bit. The Honor 70 has a 6.67 inch OLED display with a 1080p resolution, and you can freely switch between a 60Hz refresh rate or a 120Hz refresh rate. That makes all of the animation and swipe actions on this phone super smooth, but it comes at a cost of your battery life. Now the screen of this phone is sharp and you get a lot of contrast in your pictures and videos. I did also enjoy the under-screen fingerprint sensor. It was working very fast and it is very reliable. The audio on this phone is okay. Now you cannot expect too much from the one single loudspeaker that you have on the bottom side of this phone. It is not super loud and the sound does not have too much depth to it. So let me give you a quick example right quick.
Watch 5 stands out in front of all of the older Samsung smartwatches, not only feature-wise, but also if you compare the specs.
Now talking about the battery life, I'm pretty pleased. Now the Honor 70 packs a 4800 mAh battery, which will last about 2 to 2.5 days depending on your usage. But the great thing about it is that it charges super fast. Now in my testing, it went from 0 to 80% in about 30 minutes, and all the way up to 100% it takes another 40 minutes. The Magic UI 6.1 based on an Android 12 is pretty snappy and there's no lagging whatsoever on this phone. And if you already had an Honor or a Huawei smartphone, you will feel right at home right here. Now you do have a few cool features on this phone. Now first up, the cool sidebar. You can access this one if you swipe from the left or right screen. This one has a few apps, but you can always add some more to it or kick some out of the rotation. If you now open up these apps, they will open up in a separate floating window that you can just drag around your screen, make them bigger or make them smaller. You also get a lot of nice wallpapers by default that all more or less follow the same glass sculpture style, live wallpapers and different AOD displays. This phone also has a series of shortcuts and gesture controls. For instance, you can tap on a screen with your knuckle twice to make a screenshot, or you can tap with your knuckle on the screen and then you can draw a circle or something else to only take a partial screenshot of a specific area. The Honor 70 chipset is a small upgrade compared to its older model, the Honor 50. Rather than getting a Snapdragon 778G, we now get the 778G Plus. The difference is a slight increase in the clock speed of the main CPU core, but everything else like the performance during games stay pretty much the same.
Okay, let's get to the camera test. So right now I'm recording in 1080p with 60 frames per second. But you can also trim that down to 30 frames, or you can upgrade that to a 4K resolution, but you still only get 30 frames. Okay, this right here is the same settings, same surroundings, but the difference is that I'm recording in 4K with 30 frames per second. So that's how it looks like. Now, you can also trim that down to 720p, but I wouldn't recommend it since 1080p is way better and you get a better resolution. All right, let's check out the image stabilization while I'm walking. And as you can see, it is not shaking at all. So let me go jog a little bit and let's go full speed. And I'm trying to keep the smartphone as steady as possible, and it does work pretty good. Okay, so let's check out the selfie camera of the Honor 70. Now, as you can see, all the colors are a little pale and they're not that vivid, and you can only record in 1080p with 30 frames per second. So there's no 4K resolution right here and no 60 frames per second. So that's how it looks like. Now, this camera also has 5 different multi-window camera options. So this one is right here is my selfie camera and the main camera up front, but we can also change this one to my selfie camera and the ultra wide and the normal one, the picture in picture, and a normal front camera. Okay, so we are back at the multi-window camera. Now I got the two front cameras activated. One time the ultra wide and the other one is the normal main camera. Now let's check out the next one. Now I got the picture in picture multi-window camera. Now on the top left I recording myself, and on the main screen of my camera I've got the surroundings. Now don't drive into anything, and yeah, I don't think that I have to do the last ones because the other one is just a selfie camera and the last one is just a main rear camera, so we can skip that. Okay, this right here is 1080p with 60 frames per second. Now that's how it looks like this. Now let's see how it looks in 4K in 30 frames. Alright, now I got the 4K resolution turned on and 30 frames per second. And the big difference is if I'm moving a little bit faster and the pictures aren't that fluid anymore. But resolution wise, it's pretty good.
Alright, next up I will hit you with some pictures and some background music. I'm not going to say too much, but I will still leave you some infos with some text during the pictures to let you know which camera I'm using, which resolution, which frame rate or whatever, and which mode of course. First up, the portrait mode that has a fixed background blur. I would say that it's just the right amount of blur. But if you want to change this one up, you have an extra aperture mode on your phone, so you can make a little bit more or a little bit less of a background blur. Alright, next up some different pictures and videos during the nighttime with different camera modes and different video qualities.
.1080p and 60 frames per second. Now that is 4K with 30 frames per second. Okay, now I'm recording with the selfie camera and 1080p with 30 frames per second. Now it is quite dark, but you have a flashlight, so let's turn this one on. Okay, now this is with the flashlight turned on for the selfie camera, and you see a lot more now. Still not that great, but it's a lot better.
And guys, that's already it for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.